Okay, I'm going to show you how to use the 3D editor that comes with Arma to create some extra buildings to use in your server. So the first thing, you got to be at the main screen here, and you press Control E, E for editor, and select whichever map you want. We'll use NAP. A lot of times, if you can also use this to edit some scripts, create some scripts. I would use one of the smaller maps like Proving Grounds because it loads a little quicker. So we load it up. Now you'll see it's an empty map. We can edit in 3D, move around using the keys. It's moderately intuitive. Using the WASD, shift key makes you go faster, move faster. Okay, the first thing you're going to do though, if you have to have a player in the mission to save it. And I'll show you what happens. If you hit save, it'll tell you you have to have at least one playable unit before you can save the mission. So that's under unit, but in order to save a unit has to be part of a group, and a group has to be part of a side. So the first thing we're going to do is click on Edit in 2D. Does not matter where you click. Let's just do right here at this town, and we'll do center, and we'll select Blue Force. We're going to delete this character, so it does not matter what side he is, but we have to have a character. Now we select a group. Blue Force is on center west, and unit, we'll create a unit. Does not matter what one, you can make him any Blue Force guy you want. The only thing that does matter, he must be playable. So you have to do playable and select playable. Okay, and it takes a minute to create this guy. There he is. Now if I hit Edit 3D, there he is. And I can hit Preview. I can actually run around in this map. Okay, and the server, because the server's not running, there's not going to be any loot or any DayZ stuff. This is actually just the Arma 3D map. Okay, so we're going to edit in 2D map again. And if we want to create something right here where we are, let's zoom in a little bit. Let's put some buildings over here. All buildings, everything in Arma is a vehicle. So we're going to click on vehicle, and then we click where we want it. And let's select, you have other things here, some map objects and whatnot. You could create vehicles. Vehicles have another issue that the server will try to delete them. So there's workarounds, but this is where you would go to put some cars if you wanted to randomly spawn some vehicles. But anyways, if you come down here to the map EU, you'll see houses, industry, military, plants, rails, roads, rocks, ruins, signs, sidewalks, water, African building. There's all kinds of garbage in here. So let's do rails. Let's see, can we have a rail platform sign? Let's put a rail station right here. Now if I do edit in 3D, and I zoom out a little bit, and I can select this, I use the shift key and I can rotate it. It's kind of hard to get this lined up where it goes with the grain of the land. What you would have to do is click on this, and down here it's got the init expression. If you want to put something on a hill, and you would, this is, I'm just a guess here because I don't remember the exact code, but you're going to do something along set vector, and you're going to tell it 0, 0, 0, or I forget which. Anyways, if you do some research for set vector on how to make buildings align, you see how this is higher over here, and then over here it's under the ground, and that would actually tilt. I can actually rotate the. Let's see, can I rotate? Let's see, shift control, alt shift, no, that's up. But usually most people just try to find a level place to keep this stuff. But that's beyond the basic scope here anyways. But just so you're aware that it is possible to make buildings follow the terrain. Usually it's used for fence lines. Alright, so we can put another building in here. And let's do military barracks. There's a barracks. This is the one that you can't enter. Let's see. I think the I is the enterable one. Yeah, this is the one. So this is the one that will spawn loot. So there you go. Now if we preview it, you see here we are with the building. Not too bad. This isn't aligned too bad. There we go. So you've got created a little stuff here. Now we want to save this and have it spawn in our server. So what we're going to have to do is go back to the 2D map and we're going to save. We're going to give this a name. Add on, let's do small letters, add on buildings. Okay? Add on buildings. Now it's saved. Now I could reload this one. These are other editors that I've been using, and they are keyed to the map. So now if I click on Chernarus, you see add-on buildings is not there. It's only available if I have the map selected. Okay, so now let's exit out of the editor. We're done with that. Now one thing, we did create that player. We don't need a player. We're going to have to do some edits. So where did that save? This mission was saved in your documents. So if you click on your documents folder in arma2 other profiles, depending on what your profile name is, if you use the actual name of your computer, whatever your login name is, and you did not create a unique profile, then it would be under arma2. But 99.9% of people have a player name that they use. They've got a profile, and that would be under other profiles. Mine is shooting blanks. So now missions, and there's add-on buildings, and you see this is where they're keyed to the map. So I click on add-on buildings, and here it is, mission.sqf, and this is the 3D. Now we don't want to delete or edit these directly because we want to be able to edit this map before. Suppose we go use it in the game, and then at some point we decide we want to add another building or delete a building. We want to be able to just go into here, Control E, and load up the map. Right? So we need to keep these two missions. So we're going to edit this with Notepad. And now we had created the soldier. I told you we needed the soldier to save the mission. But we don't want another just random soldier in our game. And to create the soldier, we had to create the group. And to create the group, we had to create a center. So we're going to delete everything up there at the top that had the guy. So what we do is we start at the top of the file, and we go down until we find the first thing that'll say vehicle. Remember, all the buildings are vehicles. So when we see vehicle 0 equals object null, that's the start of what we need. We put our cursor above it, and we delete everything above that file, or above that line. Now we go down, and if you got 100 buildings, whatever, you go down to the very last vehicle 2. And it's vehicle 2 equals object null, and then vehicle 2 is equal to the barracks that it created. So we're going to select after the code block. Vehicle 2, here's the code block. We select after this. We delete these last 3 lines. Now, one thing about this, if you do use a vehicle init line, like I had said to you before about to make the building run level with the terrain, and you would have a vehicle init line up here, you would have to leave this process init commands, and you would just delete the other 2. So it does not hurt to leave process init commands in. The server will not start, or the file at least will not load if you have the other two. But if you don't use any init commands, you can delete that one too. Okay, now we're going to save this, but we're not going to save it as mission.sqf because remember, we want to be able to edit this later. So we need it with the player. So we're going to save it as a different name. Save as test buildings.sqf. Okay, there's my SQF file next to it, and that's this file right here. This is what's going to go into our server. So we copy this, and let's see, where's our server? You go to our server, Daisy Epoch server, add-ons. Here's my server PBO. I already have it unpacked, and I'm going to create a folder in here. We can call it add-ons or buildings, whatever you want. This is buildings. We see where we already have one here called admin base. We paste. Now our test buildings is in here. Now this is not going to get automatically loaded. We have to execute this file. You'll see some people will make a big deal about putting if server at the top of these. Doesn't matter because this is in the server, so it's only possible to run on the server, so you don't need any if is server crap up on this. Alright, so we go to back to the init folder in your server, and server functions. We're going to edit this on the bottom. Edit with Notepad, and I would go all the way to the bottom, and you'll see we already have one for the admin base, and we're just going to exec VM, and where is our file? Z is the root for your arma2 installation. You'll see right here we're in the add-ons folder. So we click add-ons. What PBO are we in? We're in Daisy server PBO. I'll put this down here. So we type Daisy server. Now our buildings file was in buildings right here, so now we put buildings. And in the file name, test buildings. Oops. That is, and then don't forget your semicolon at the end. And once you've got one of these in, you can just copy and paste, copy, paste, and then just change the name to your next file. So now that's in there. Now, while I'm here, a note on this right here is Z add-ons, and then any PBO. So like if you wanted to refer to something that's in the Daisy code, you could do that. You could actually create another folder and external to your Daisy server and save your buildings in that and just give it the name. It's complicated. It's beyond this. But anyways, there you go. So now we save this, pack up the PBO, and PBO manager. Oops. And now when we start the server, we're going to have those buildings in that little area. And that's all there is to it. And you can put a ton of buildings, hundreds of buildings, thousands probably. You can put vehicles in there, other things, but you have to be aware that your server will try to delete them. There are extra steps that you would have to take to add vehicles, but since this is just a basic how to use the editor, we're not going to get into that right now. Alright, good luck with that.